Deep within the immense steel walls of America's largest warships, there exists a hidden world that very few civilians will ever witness firsthand. This is not just a workplace of aviation power and combat readiness, but also a community where senior naval commanders live in conditions far different from what most would imagine. While thousands of sailors live and work in crowded compartments aboard these floating fortresses, the leaders who carry the weight of command reside in quarters that blend comfort with functionality. It may surprise you to know that some of these living spaces resemble executive suites rather than military bunks. Yet behind the polished wood, private dining rooms, and quiet offices lies a carefully engineered purpose. What is hidden here may surprise you, and we will reveal a fascinating truth about these living arrangements later in this video. Before we begin, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. An aircraft carrier is more than a ship. It is a city at sea with its own power grid, hospitals, and even postal systems. But within this immense city exists a strict hierarchy of living arrangements that mirrors the chain of command itself. At the very top of that hierarchy stands the commanding officer, a Navy captain entrusted with the lives of over 5,000 sailors and aviators. This captain's quarters are not simply a place to sleep. They double as a command center, a diplomatic meeting space, and at times a venue for hosting visiting leaders from across the globe. Just beneath the captain's position is the executive officer, who oversees the day-to-day functioning of the ship. And when a flag officer such as a rear admiral embarks to command the entire carrier strike group, their accommodations expand into what can only be described as a floating palace. These distinctions are not about luxury for its own sake, but about efficiency and the ability to lead effectively at all hours. The commanding officer's living domain is particularly fascinating because it includes not one, but two separate quarters. When the ship is docked in port, the captain's in-port cabin becomes the epicenter of diplomacy and administration. This space is equipped with formal dining areas and meeting rooms where visiting dignitaries are received. The United States Navy often hosts foreign officials and allied leaders aboard its carriers, and the captain's ability to present a professional yet welcoming environment carries enormous symbolic weight. In contrast, when the carrier is at sea, the captain relocates to a second set of quarters positioned close to the bridge and combat information center. These at-sea quarters are smaller but strategically located for rapid response. If an emergency arises in the middle of the night, whether mechanical failure, medical crisis, or sudden external threat, the captain must be able to reach the command centers within minutes. Comfort takes a secondary role here, as proximity and readiness become paramount. For admirals, the experience reaches an entirely different level. When a rear admiral takes command of a carrier strike group from aboard an aircraft carrier, their quarters are designed to reflect not only their rank, but the enormous responsibilities they bear. These accommodations, often referred to as flag quarters, include both a day cabin and a sleeping cabin. The day cabin functions like a high-level operational headquarters. It is equipped with secure communications, video conferencing capabilities, and direct links to the Pentagon and White House Situation Room. In fact, decisions made within these rooms can shape military strategy across entire regions. The sleeping cabin, on the other hand, offers much-needed private space where the admiral can rest after 18 to 20-hour workdays. Private bathrooms, exercise equipment, and climate-controlled environments ensure that even while thousands of miles from home, America's most senior naval leaders can maintain focus and effectiveness. Yet the admiral's quarters are not just about rest and communication. They also include a private dining area where classified briefings often occur over meals. This tradition of blending sustenance with strategy reflects centuries of naval practice. Some of the most consequential decisions in American naval history have been made not in formal briefing rooms, but in these intimate dining settings where senior officers and advisors exchange ideas under conditions of both privacy and security. The quarters themselves are often referred to as a floating palace not for their extravagance, but because they function as both home and command post, balancing personal comfort with professional necessity. When one considers that a carrier strike group represents more military power than most entire nations, the importance of equipping its commander with secure and effective quarters becomes undeniable. Beyond the captain and admiral lies an area known as officer country. This section of the ship is reserved for officers of varying rank, from department heads to junior lieutenants. Officer country is deliberately separated from enlisted living spaces, not as a sign of division, but to provide officers the quiet and focus required for planning and administrative duties. On older carriers, junior officers might share small staterooms with 2 or 3 roommates. These compact quarters served as sleeping areas, offices, and study rooms all at once. The space was functional, but far from comfortable. However, the newest generation of carriers, beginning with the USS Gerald R. Ford, has dramatically improved the quality of officer accommodations. Individual staterooms now often include private bathrooms, personal climate controls, and modular storage systems. These improvements are not mere luxuries. They ensure officers can maintain peak efficiency even after long shifts filled with demanding responsibilities. The improvements on the Ford-class carriers mark one of the most significant revolutions in naval accommodation design. Where older Nimitz-class carriers once housed as many as 180 sailors in massive, noisy berthing areas, the Ford has reduced that number to around 40 per compartment. This change alone has had a remarkable effect on noise levels and sleep quality. For officers, wider passageways and reconfigured layouts reduce stress during daily movements around the ship. The vessel also houses multiple fitness centers filled with professional-grade equipment, ensuring that physical health can be maintained during deployments that may last many months. These fitness centers rival civilian gyms and play a crucial role in supporting both physical and mental resilience. Advanced climate control and air circulation systems further enhance daily living conditions, stabilizing temperatures and humidity in ways that were not possible on earlier ships. The Ford even includes upgraded medical facilities, complete with operating rooms and intensive care units. While the physical accommodations are impressive, one of the most culturally significant areas for officers is the wardroom. This dining and meeting hall serves as both a social center and an operational hub. Here, officers gather not simply to eat, but to build the bonds of trust and communication that are essential for smooth naval operations. Informal discussions over meals often resolve complex issues more efficiently than formal briefings. Wardroom traditions stretch back centuries, carrying forward customs that remind officers of their shared heritage and duty. Large tables offer space to spread out charts, technical manuals, and operational plans, while modern audiovisual equipment allows for secure presentations. During port visits, the wardroom also serves as a diplomatic venue where allied officials and visiting dignitaries are hosted. These occasions extend beyond courtesy. They reinforce the international relationships that sustain naval cooperation across the world's oceans. Life on an aircraft carrier is often compared to life in a city that never sleeps. With a population of approximately 5,000 personnel, including sailors, aviators, and officers, the ship operates around the clock. For high-ranking officers, this means maintaining constant readiness while balancing the demands of leadership. Daily routines often begin before dawn with briefings and extend well past sunset with ongoing operational oversight. Flight operations may occur at any hour, and senior officers must remain available for critical decisions. The comfort of private quarters provides necessary refuge, allowing these leaders to recharge before returning to the demanding pace of command. Communication with family has been greatly improved on modern carriers, thanks to satellite systems and high-speed internet access. Even brief exchanges with loved ones thousands of miles away provide a powerful boost to morale during deployments that can last half a year or more. Now, here is the revelation hinted at earlier. Some of the most critical command spaces aboard an aircraft carrier are hidden not in plain sight, but behind the closed doors of officers' living areas. The private dining rooms, personal offices, and flag cabins are not only for comfort, but also serve as secure environments where classified discussions take place. In these rooms, strategies are refined, orders are crafted, and alliances are reinforced. Unlike the bustling command decks filled with dozens of officers, these intimate spaces allow for discreet yet decisive leadership. Many people assume that military planning occurs exclusively in briefing rooms or war centers, but in reality, some of the Navy's most consequential decisions are made around the dining tables and desks of these very private quarters. It is here that comfort meets command, and personal living space becomes an extension of America's strategic reach. The value of these accommodations becomes clear when we consider the toll of prolonged deployments. Officers often work 16-hour days under conditions of intense pressure, managing everything from flight schedules to mechanical issues while maintaining readiness for unexpected threats. Without the ability to rest in private, climate-controlled environments, their judgment could falter. By providing secure and comfortable quarters, the Navy ensures that decision-makers remain sharp and resilient. This investment directly influences mission success. The ability of officers to communicate securely with the Pentagon or allies while still within their private quarters means that no time is wasted in relaying information. Whether it is a captain responding to a crisis at sea or an admiral coordinating multinational operations, these living arrangements are built to sustain both body and mind during the harsh realities possibilities of extended naval missions. The combination of comfort, tradition, and efficiency reflects a broader truth about America's naval philosophy. Strength depends not only on technology and firepower, but also on the well-being of the people who operate them. From the commanding officer's dual quarters to the Admiral's floating palace to the modernized officer country of the Ford-class carriers, every detail of these accommodations has been designed with purpose. They are not luxuries granted to a privileged few, but essential tools that enable the Navy's leaders to shoulder responsibilities that affect thousands of lives and billions of dollars in equipment. These floating cities at sea are more than war machines. They are ecosystems where leadership is sustained, strategy is shaped, and history is often written. America's aircraft carriers remain unmatched in size, capability, and influence. Their officers live in spaces that, while far more comfortable than most expect, are ultimately crafted to support leadership under extraordinary circumstances. The evolution from cramped shared quarters on mid-20th century ships to the sophisticated accommodations of today's supercarriers reflects a recognition of the human dimension of naval power. These improvements allow officers to lead effectively, maintain health, and preserve morale over deployments that stretch for months. As long as aircraft carriers sail the oceans, the leaders who command them will continue to live in spaces that balance comfort with command, ensuring that America's naval forces remain ready to defend freedom and security across the globe. Far beneath the polished officer quarters lies another essential element of life at sea, the logistics backbone that ensures comfort is even possible. Food, water, fuel, and spare parts all flow through the carrier in carefully timed deliveries. Supply officers manage inventories worth millions of dollars, tracking every gallon of jet fuel, every meal served, and every replacement part for aircraft. The officers' wardrooms might feel refined, but every dish served there depends on a supply chain that stretches from American ports across vast oceans. In this sense, the accommodations of commanders are directly tied to the invisible work of hundreds who keep the floating city stocked and functioning. One detail that often surprises visitors is the quiet elegance of certain spaces. While the main decks of a carrier are filled with roaring aircraft and constant activity, officer country is insulated, designed to provide silence amid chaos. This silence is not just a luxury, it is a strategic necessity. Imagine a rear admiral trying to hold a secure call with Washington while fighter jets thunder overhead. Soundproofing, careful design, and placement deep within the vessel ensure that sensitive conversations can happen without interruption. These calm spaces allow leaders to think clearly, even when just above their heads, the flight deck is launching and recovering aircraft around the clock. Another fascinating element of life for elite officers is the cultural role their quarters play when the ship visits foreign ports. The admiral's or captain's in-port quarters effectively become an embassy on water. Diplomats, heads of state, and allied officers are invited into these spaces for dinners, receptions, and strategic discussions. The furniture, artwork, and layout are carefully chosen not only for comfort, but also to reflect American professionalism and prestige. In many cases, these encounters leave lasting impressions on foreign officials, strengthening alliances that extend beyond the battlefield. The living spaces are therefore not only private residences, but also instruments of soft power. Modern technology has also transformed what life inside these quarters feels like. The newest Ford-class carriers are equipped with advanced fiber optic networks, high-speed satellite links, and even secure video systems that allow real-time coordination with commanders halfway across the world. For officers, this means their quarters are effectively extensions of the Pentagon itself. What looks like a private office may, in reality, be a node in a global command web. A captain or admiral can issue orders, review intelligence, and participate in multinational operations without ever leaving their suite. The blending of home and command center creates a dual-purpose environment unlike any other in the military. Despite these advancements, traditions remain central to daily life. Officers continue to uphold long-standing naval customs, from the rituals of formal dinners to the practice of mess nights where camaraderie is reinforced. These traditions are particularly important during long deployments when homesickness can weigh heavily. Shared meals, ceremonial toasts, and even small celebrations of milestones provide psychological relief from the isolation of life at sea. The quarters themselves become stages for these traditions, turning otherwise ordinary rooms into places where morale and heritage are preserved. The living quarters, therefore, are not just personal havens. They are ecosystems where teamwork sustains leadership at the highest levels of command. Lighting also plays a surprisingly important role in officer accommodations. Unlike the fluorescent utilitarian lights found in many parts of the ship, the quarters of senior officers are often equipped with adjustable lighting systems that mimic natural daylight cycles. This helps counteract fatigue during long deployments where natural sunlight may be limited by steel walls and operational demands. Subtle design choices like these contribute to better sleep, improved focus, and ultimately, sharper decision-making. In an environment where a single choice can influence international security, even the smallest comforts serve a critical operational purpose. Finally, it is worth considering the symbolism of these spaces. To the thousands of sailors aboard, the captain's cabin or Admiral's suite represents not only authority but also continuity of command. These quarters embody the Navy's recognition of responsibility and sacrifice. Every piece of furniture, every communication system, and every private office signals that the United States takes the well-being and effectiveness of its leaders seriously. This symbolism reinforces confidence throughout the crew. Knowing their commanders are supported with the tools and environment needed to succeed, sailors can focus on their duties, assured that leadership is steady, rested, and fully prepared to guide them through any challenge at sea. Remember to hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Your support means a lot.